and it keeps taking me higher. It's the little things that keep me going.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm Rye.
And I'm Rye. Welcome back to the Little Things podcast, where we discuss the little things. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
I think this is technically our third podcast episode. We did a couple that we released exclusively on SoundCloud.
Yep.
And then very quickly, life got insane.
Nuts.
We got engaged. We got married.
Yep.
Now we're living that adult life. Well, trying to. And it sucks.
That was a gag because it's gross.
Just have to explain what gags sound like.
Yeah, well, it was a weird gag.
That's fair.
So I did
That's fair.
kind of, it needed an explanation. So the topic of this episode is just crazy. We're talking about crazy stuff. And so to kick it off, I wanted to mention something kind of crazy that happened actually today. It probably won't be today when you're listening to it.
It definitely won't be.
Or watching it. Hello, if you're watching. We do music for a living, if you don't know. So there's a few artists that we follow that we really love, and there's a couple of them that we decided to do covers of their song / music that they had done. One of them was an instrumental that we wrote a song over the top of. And both of them not only shared those videos that we had made of their songs, but they also were really supportive vocally, like just that they really liked it. And so that was really cool to
Amazing.
get that like support and encouragement. Was just really cool and seemed crazy because they have, you know, a lot more followers than we do, and just we never really expect to get anything back when we do something like that. So to get it twice from two people we really respect was crazy. I mean, it was really awesome.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to share a crazy story that happened to me back in high school. For my very first car, my parents got me a Ford Mustang V6 1996 stick shift. I love that car. That car was my jam.
It was nice.
Well, one morning, my brother and I leave the house. We're going to school.
Yeah.
It was raining that morning, which is really bizarre. It doesn't really rain in the mornings in Phoenix. It doesn't rain at all, and when it rains, it's definitely not in the morning. So the roads were a little slippery. It was a little cold outside, and we pull out of the house and we're getting on the street. We stop at the light, and the street that I'm going to be turning left on is technically a highway. The speed limit is 55, so you know, nobody's going under 70.
Not in Phoenix.
No, absolutely not.
Never.
So I'm waiting at the light there, and the light turns green. So it's a stick shift, so I put it in first. I'm easing off the clutch and slowly giving it some gas, and we start going. Well, eventually, somewhere in the middle of the intersection, I lose all control. All traction is lost, and we start to spin counterclockwise. So we're spinning to the left. We do 2 spins, and you know, I know that when you lose control, you kind of just let off everything. So I let go. I let off the gas. I didn't hit the brake or anything. And we're just kind of stunned at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm slowly trying to correct it. And because the roads are so slippery that it overcorrected, so then we began to spin to the right.
Oh my gosh.
So we're in the middle of the intersection, spinning counterclockwise, and then we spin clockwise. And eventually we come to a stop. I look up, and at that point, we're in the oncoming lane.
Ooh.
As soon as that was over, I kind of looked slowly over my brother. He kind of looked slowly over at me. I put it in first, and we went on our way and never spoke of it again. Now, the craziest part of this story is this road that I was turning onto is one of the more dangerous roads in Phoenix, I would say. So there are usually hundreds of people on this road. Thankfully, there was nobody there. But if there was, like there would be at any other time of the day, I would have hit every single car because I spun out and went everywhere.
Right.
I was in my lane, and then I went into the oncoming lane, and then I went back into the lane that we just came from.
Right.
And so it would have been a really bad accident.
Wow.
And, you know, I wasn't even like, I wasn't gunning for it.
No.
I was just taking it slow because I know at this point I had a stick shift for a while. So, you know, I understand when, you know, you're giving it some gas, like especially when the roads are slippery, that you can lose traction really easily. So I'm
Right.
being really careful, but somehow we ended up spinning out really bad.
To be fair, it's impressive that you could drive a stick shift at all, because do you remember when you tried to teach me stick shift in college?
I do.
It was probably the most embarrassing hour of my life. I don't even know if we went past an hour. It was so bad. I think you tried twice,
I did.
and I'm pretty sure I stalled your car like 6 times in an hour.
Well, just to put things into perspective, you did much better than when I was learning.
Really?
Yeah. so
Okay, because
my
it
parents
felt
got
like a
me-
nightmare.
My parents got me the car for my 16th birthday, and eventually, you know, when I got my license, my dad took me out, and he was teaching me how to drive the car.
Right.
And we went to this empty parking lot for probably 2 hours, and it was just miserable. I was
Yeah.
so upset. I stalled the car so many times. Like I felt stupid because
Yeah.
my dad's like good at everything, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, oh my god, my dad thinks I'm an idiot. Like
I thought
he
you
probably-
thought I was an idiot.
No, I didn't. No, I had tremendous grace for you because
Oh.
I knew what I put my dad through.
It's hard.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, so we did that night, and then the next morning, they sent me to school.
By yourself.
But
By
yeah.
yourself to drive your brother.
Me and Chan.
Yeah,
Me
that's
and my
scary.
brother going to school. So and it was very similar to what happened with my mom, where her dad took her out driving a stick shift car, and she said that somewhere during this practice time, her dad got out of the car and walked home and was like, "Okay, you go ahead and drive home." And so I didn't have it that bad, but like
I would have got
with-
out too.
Within 12 hours, I was
Yeah.
driving without either of my parents in the car, and we did stall out underneath the freeway, which you know
No big deal.
we don't need to talk about that.
My God. I love that like Channing, your brother, you never talked about it again.
Nope.
To this day, you've never talked about it.
Nope.
I wonder if he would remember.
I'm sure he would. It was terrifying.
We gotta ask him
Oh yeah,
and see, because it just seems like a blood pact. Like we
Totally.
went through something together, and we're closer because of it. But we're never gonna speak of it.
we made it through. We weathered the storm.
Well, that sounds pretty life or death to me.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
it definitely could have
It
been.
could have been in the right circumstances. I
or the
also
wrong circumstances.
well, there you go. I also have a life or death situation to tell you
Let's hear it.
about.
Let's hear it.
It was, I would say, near death, as in very close. So my family, you know, I'm an only child. I was growing up, not anymore. I have a little sister, but till I was 17, I was an only child. So it's me and my parents, and then we always had like a group of friends around. There was just always random people there. So I don't remember who it was, but it was my parents and I and a group of people, and we had rented quads to take up like off-roading. And so we went up. There's, you know, this is Phoenix, so there's a bunch of just dirt patches, rocky mountain roads that you can find. And we went to one of those places. It was, I just remember it being very, very rocky. At this point, I'm in high school. Probably, I might not have even been in high school, actually. I think I might have been in middle school.
Ooh.
So I was pretty young,
Okay.
and awkward, but also overly confident. So
Typically.
yes, I didn't have any experience to tell me that I shouldn't be confident. So we go up to, you know, wherever you off-road. I'm really bad with language, so I'm probably going to say a lot of weird words as far
I
as
got you.
what we're talking about. So please fill in to
I'm
describe
like a seasoned vet at off-roading.
/ explaining what I'm saying to other people.
Oh yeah.
So you're perfectly fit for this job.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. So I remember having a lot of fun. We were going really fast, but I also remember it being very loud. The quads are very loud.
Yes, they are.
And it was
Very loud.
very hot. So there's a lot going on already. I'm young, and I remember being like very self-conscious. So I want to look cool also. I remember having these like jean short kind of things on. My, you know, the wind's blowing in my hair. I'm like, okay, this is good. I want to look cool.
You're feeling it.
I
Like
I was
you're feeling
it.
yourself.
I was a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. And you know, because the quads are freaking cool anyway. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it's hard not to feel cool. on this like ATV thing.
Oh yeah.
But having all that in my brain, I was already, I'm a very anxious person, so there's a lot that's
I don't like where this is going.
going on. There's a lot going on, and so I'm not really focused as much as I should be on the driving part of it. And I remember coming around, there's this pretty big corner that kind of snuck up on me pretty fast, and it was a pretty tight corner. And I really overestimated how fast I could go around the corner. And so as I'm turning, I kind of like overcorrected to the left. And because I was going so fast, the whole thing just tipped over left. So and like slammed on top of me. So I fall over onto the ground. I remember hitting pretty hard and then the quad like landing, on my right leg. And because I was going so fast and it had fallen flat, the wheels were still going. So the wheels then pulled it right, and I just remember laying on the ground and I saw it shoot up into the air. And then I realized as it was midair, I kind of looked down and there's a cliff, like right to my right. And so I see the ATV go up, and then I see it just fall down this cliff.
It sounds like a cartoon, like Looney Tunes or something.
It really, and it looked like that too. Like the Roadrunner cartoons.
Yeah.
Because I was like in the desert mountains. And it's kind of all a blur after that, if I'm honest. Because I had hit the ground pretty hard, so my vision's kind of blurry. I remember my leg hurting. All I know is that I'm laying on the ground and my quad just went over a cliff that I didn't know was there, that I was really close to. And I just remember hearing like yelling, and what I didn't realize is that I had fallen. There was like a little patch of rocks that I had sort of fallen behind.
So they thought you were on the quad when it went off the cliff.
Yeah. So to them, like they saw the quad go off, but they couldn't see me. That was all they saw. So to them, I'm at the bottom of the cliff, probably dead. Like this is a
Definitely dead.
at least 20-foot drop. It wasn't our quads. So I'm pretty sure I totaled some dude's ATV. I'm sorry, bro. I don't even know how they got it out of the bottom. Like they had to,
Like a crane.
yeah, they had to fish it out somehow. But so I didn't get hurt super bad. I didn't get a concussion or anything even, which was great. So I got really lucky. Because the quad fell on my leg though, and then slid off, my leg was beaten up pretty bad. But the worst part about all of it was that, remember when I said I was wearing shorts?
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of feeling it? Turns out that was a really bad decision because I'm very, very pale, if you can't tell. And so because I'm sitting on the quad with my legs bent, starting at the top of my knee and then ending where my shorts were, which is like the middle of my thigh, I had the most intense like farmer's tan, just one strip in the middle of my leg, really a farmer's burn. I mean, I can't tan, so it's just cherry tomato red in the least likely place, just mid thigh. Because where do you expect a farmer's tan to be?
Your arm.
Like a t-shirt or
Yeah.
like a tank top. And not that it looks great. I mean, it never looks great. It's never something you do on purpose that you want to happen necessarily. But at least there's an explanation. Like, you know immediately what happened. When it's just a strip like mid-thigh, like how do you explain that to someone?
You come up with a story?
Yeah.
Aliens,
Yeah.
bank robbery,
Something more
hot
interesting
coffee.
than just I almost fell off a cliff on a quad. I wish I would have had that, because I just remember it's one of those stories, where you're just like, okay, so this is what you had to tell the whole thing, otherwise it makes no sense.
Now to get this straight, you didn't use that in middle school? You didn't use that story to get street cred?
I honestly
Like
blacked out.
I would have been like, people ask me what happened to my leg, and be like, yeah, man, I almost died.
I don't remember most of middle
I was
school.
riding this quad, and we went over this hill, and then I realized there's a cliff.
Yeah.
So then, as I'm falling off the cliff, I jumped off. Yes. And I landed and kind of scraped my leg.
It becomes a Mission Impossible movie really
yeah.
quick.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure that's what I did.
Okay.
I'm
good.
sure. I mean, again, I was very overconfident. So it's
Well, I mean,
almost
everybody was in
impossible
middle
that I
school.
wouldn't have done that. Oh, yeah.
See, that almost makes the story worth it. I mean, almost, because you like almost
Almost.
died.
I was like literally 2 inches from death, but worth it.
And see, as you tell that story, the more and more you tell that story,
Yeah.
the more insane it becomes. You know, at first it's
Yeah.
like a 20-foot drop, and then later it's like,
Yep.
man, we're at the Grand Canyon, and I was doing like these tricks. I went off this ramp, and I like freaking jumped off the quad and jumped back. You know, or like I almost jumped over the canyon.
Yes, almost
You know what
all
I'm
the way.
saying?
Or I fell off into the Grand Canyon, but then I landed perfectly on one of those donkeys.
Yep.
And then I just kept going, and I was like, giddy up.
Or like somebody fell in the Grand Canyon, and I
Yeah.
was like taking my quad to go save him,
Yeah.
and so basically, I sacrificed myself for this person.
Would I call
And-
myself a hero? Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, I would.
Well, I got one more crazy story.
Oh, yay.
This story is crazy in the sense that I never thought I would ever see anything like this in my life.
Okay.
Not even on TV or in a movie.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure there's enough creativity that exists in the world to come up to create a story like
Can't
this.
make it up.
So at the time, you and I are still dating. I believe we just come back from a date. So I dropped you off at your parents' house, and I'm going back to my parents' house. It's dark out, so there's nobody on the road. I'm about to get on the freeway. And so I'm waiting at this intersection. It's a red light. And I look over and I see a cop car with its lights on.
Mm.
And immediately my blood pressure goes up.
Oh, yeah.
Because anytime I see a cop car, period,
Yeah.
I freak
anywhere.
out, let alone when its lights are on. Because I always think I did something wrong and he's coming after me.
Yeah. Straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
Yeah.
Well, this cop car is driving in this field off the road.
Yeah.
And he turns on the spotlights. You know the spotlights that they got on the front bumper?
Yeah.
The two like really bright.
Yeah.
Some of them even have them on like the top rack
Oh, really?
of the car, yeah.
I haven't seen those.
And so he turns it on so it's really bright. And so I realize, oh, this guy's looking for somebody in this field. Like, I don't know.
Is there grass? Is it like a tall grass
Yeah,
field?
yeah,
or?
it's pretty tall, you know.
Okay.
Probably about knee height.
Okay.
Well, I look closer and I see somebody running.
Mm.
It's a large black lady. Just running for her life.
Just running.
She is a large woman,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore truly believe that she was running at a high speed. But in reality, it was more like a slow jog for I would say most of us. But the effort that she's putting forth is like she's running in the Olymp. I mean, I could practically hear her huffing and puffing like
It's a full out sprint for this
a
lady.
full out sprint. And the cop car is chasing her behind her, but driving at like a half a mile an hour.
Just right behind her.
Like I could tell this officer is like, I don't know where you think you're running,
Where are you gonna go?
but eventually, and by eventually I mean in probably less than a minute, you're gonna get exhausted and stop running. So I'm just gonna chill back here and wait until you stop.
And there's nothing around.
No, there's nothing. It's not. This isn't like a forest, you know, where
Yeah.
she could like evade the
No.
police, you know, hide behind a tree or climb up or duck down. No, it's like
It's just an
you
empty
can
field.
see everything. I could see everything, and it's like pitch black out.
Like logic would say, you got me. Like, where am I gonna go?
Oh yeah,
Why put in the effort of sprinting?
She only made things worse for herself.
But she truly believed she could get away.
Yeah, and I wish her the best.
Yeah.
I wonder if she got away.
I kind of hope she did. Like, just the effort into trying to get away is kind of worth the second chance.
Man, if I was that officer, I would let her off. I'd be like, man, you you were really going for it. I'm gonna let that one slide.
Oh my God. I just, and anytime you see someone at an all out sprint for any reason, it's always funny.
Hilarious.
It's
Outside
always
of sports,
funny. I don't know.
It's always like unexpected. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever been waiting at an intersection and you see a guy like sprinting to catch the bus or the train or something? Like
I
you're-
and personally,
you're
but
just like
you told
stopped
me
and
about it.
and you'll see this guy like, you know, full backpack on, probably got a briefcase and
Yeah.
papers and everything. He's just and you see everybody turn their heads. They're like, oh wow.
I don't know if
look
it's
at
just
this
like
guy.
human nature to kind of frown upon anything that's like crazy effort, it's like, dude, stop trying so hard. You know what I mean? Because we all just want to be chill, and anybody that's trying that hard for anything is like immediately uncool.
Yep.
I don't know if that's what it is, but it's like when you just see somebody like running for their life, especially without context, it's like, it's so shocking. You just don't expect to see it, and it makes me laugh every time.
Huge shock factor.
Well, we have a lot more crazy stories, but I think that's a pretty good one to end on. I just
agree.
have the image of the cop like crawl chasing some random lady. And that's all we have for you on this episode.
Thank you guys for listening and sharing and watching. And until next time, find ways to enjoy the little things in your life.